And we're back, and you are listening to Villaincast, BJJ Anti-Heroes, with myself, Chris, the Villain Pains, and Naki, El Jefe, Oshed. And welcome to Reap the Week. But first, a quick thank you to our members at In Theory BJJ, Concept Driven Jiu-jitsu, for fight commentary, technique and concept videos, private coaching, monthly webinars and Q&A sessions. Please visit www.patreon.com/intheorybjj. Smooth.
Nice. Clean.
Hey, Nak.
How's it going?
No different to how we talked about 5 seconds ago when we were talking before we went live. But
we have to pretend.
Yeah, we have to pretend that this is a new conversation. You've been unwell. I'm unwell.
Yeah.
For different reasons. Yours just like a winter bug kind of thing.
Yeah, it's come and gone.
Yeah.
Yours is
then.
there at the moment.
Dude. Yeah, so again, I'm optimistic. I'm going to hope that the physio and the two GPs that have looked at my arm are incorrect and I haven't torn my rotator cuff. But I will find out. Because otherwise that's going to keep things difficult, shall we say.
Yeah.
I didn't realise how important the rotator cuff was. I thought you could just work around it, apparently. You need your shoulder to do many things in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, and I can understand now when people get injured and you show up and you're looking there, you just want to get stuck in. You just want to get on the mats, you just want to have a bit of a scrap, and especially when you've been doing it for 15 years, to not now be able to scrap as often, it's really disappointing.
Yeah, I can imagine, but I hope mine, I can prolong that as long as I can.
Yeah, and that's it then. I think when you're first starting out in jiu-jitsu, especially if you're in your early 20s and you're a young gun, you're fighting to show what you're made out of, and then once you get past the age of 30, you're fighting off injuries more than people. That's it. I'm just trying to keep the injuries at bay. That's all now. When I train, I'm not really considering how to get better at jiu-jitsu or how to control, do jiu-jitsu better against people. I'm trying to think of jiu-jitsu of how can I just survive this encounter? How can I make it so you can't hurt me and I can walk away with this with parts of my body still intact? That's all I care about. Changes the perspective a little bit.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, that's so we've recently taken on a young lad interested in MMA, and I had that kind of conversation with him about CTE, asked him if he knew what that was and stuff, and I thought, as I was saying it, it's utterly pointless. I can tell this kid the dangers of being whacked in the head repeatedly and what that can do to a person. But it's like when you're that age, you don't give a shit. I'm sure you remember those days when we could just get on the mats and it would just be a horrendous scrap, and you'd end up really injured sometimes, and you'd just be like, "Cool, let's go again."
Yep. Gotta be smarter now.
Dude, I remember having my eye scraped my eyeball that I had to go and they went and put some dye on it in hospital, and you can see where the cut across my eyeball was. I was on the mat the following day just with an eye patch on.
Yeah.
Those days, just you didn't care. I remember breaking my finger to the point where the lad who I did a takedown on a guy, I broke my finger on the takedown, and we both heard it crack and snap. I was like, crap. And we just taped it to the next one and carried on. He wouldn't touch me because he thought he was grossed out by me touching him with a broken finger. Those days are long gone. I'm just too tired. What's happened?
Guess it's life, eh?
It is. So you have your first seminar, or full shebang seminar now. It's been set up, it's confirmed. We won't say seminar, we'll say visit. You've got your first visit externally.
Yeah, out the country.
Out of the country, yeah, going to Finland.
Yeah, the Finland.
Dude,
I'm looking forward to it, man.
yeah, it's when you first start doing that kind of stuff, it's such a, I don't know, mind fuck more than anything else.
Mm.
But I'm singing your praises right now. Like, I've been telling a few people that you're going away, and other people who want to visit you as well, asking, like, oh, can I get Naki's details so I want to go train with him? And they're like, what does he do? And I'm just like, well, he's good at MMA, he's good BJJ black belt, and he was a freaking teacher, so his ability to coach it is also really good. So you can't really go wrong with the man, really.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Just saying those nice things, man. Oh, misplaced. I had notes out just with like questions we've been asked, and I completely put them away. Ooh, we've had questions. Do your students who keep good posture and balance still get caught with weird attacks?
Yes. I think there's two reasons. Well, one, it's the people. There are times when you have to kind of deal with the problem at hand, depending how far you let them come through to do something like giving a deep underhook away or letting them get deep on your legs and then panicking. That's the biggest thing, because they'll drop the discipline there. And I think just with them we're not showing them much guard and stuff, and then when we roll with them, we throw them with weird attacks, so they don't know the responses to them. But once they see the pattern, like, there's things I can't do to most of these guys anymore. Like K guard is a thing of, I have to set it up like magic. But before, I used to just get into it, but they've figured out the postural response to it now. So no, the guys who we've had who we started the posture stuff with us, it's hard to catch things on them, but the new ones who come in, it's good. It's still not easy, but you can catch it with some weird attacks. Like, I'm not talking stuff like flipping the 10th planet guard system with all the weird twisty stuff, like, because they don't put their head low unless they're stacking, and if they are, their posture's good and they're up. So I'm talking more about like getting into the legs, because they're not used to that. Because some of them don't even know how to attack the legs yet until they expand their knowledge a bit more. They watch YouTube and try then, like some of them. But no, I think it's getting smaller of the amount of people we can catch that weird attacks. But I'm not going to say that they don't get caught with attacks at all. Like, sometimes I can get them in Williams guard quite easily, just because of the combinations, like breaking the posture and then bringing them down, and they'll panic, and then you can get nice overhooks and really come off to the side and attack them. And they don't have, a lot of them, they're just too scared to either roll, and we don't tell them to roll. So for Omo, they won't roll, you know what I mean? So just little things like that, but they're not major issues. I think dealing with their postures in the beginning, it's really fundamental. It's a foundation. And the weird attacks you can deal with, you can get caught with them a couple of times in training, and then you'll have the responses, which we've seen with the guys who we're giving the blues to now. Sorry, I waffled a bit there.
No, it's cool. I was listening intently. I think, you can occasionally baffle them a little bit, but I think, I'm quite fortunate as I get to travel around and meet people and roll at different places and etc. And it is a lot harder. I mean, we're pretty experienced black belts by now. We should be able to pretty much just pull magic out of a hat and throw it Jedi style at pretty much anyone up to about purple belt.
Yeah, I agree.
But you can't against even white belts. Like, okay, wait there. Do you think you could catch Andy with some magic?
No, I have to fucking
fighting for your life most of the time, and that's a white belt.
Mate, honestly, like, Andy is one of my, like, if I'm not switched on, like, he can make my life fucking hard. So I have to really torture him to like pin him down first and really stop him moving around, because he fucking never stops.
I mean, I put a video on In Theory today, actually, recorded it last week, and it was me rolling with Big Daz. And considering he's been doing sessions with me for a year, he's been training for a year. He just smashed my guard to shit. And I recorded it. I was like, here you go. This is a white belt. Okay, there's like a 40-pound difference in our weight. But this is a white belt caving in my guard right now. And I think I swept him maybe 2 or 3 times in 14 minutes. And then I got on top and I managed to like hold on to him briefly. Like pinned his hips down long enough to maybe time out a little bit before he just threw me in the fucking air. I'm like, I can't catch him with magic. I can barely hold on. I did hit him with a crab ride or something. Like he's just going to jump to his feet the second I let go of him. And so I think it's occasionally possible to catch someone with magic, but I think the amount of effort that has to go beforehand of breaking posture and balance, you can't just like click your fingers and do the most insane move, which we should and have been able to do historically, not just in our gym but other gyms. Now it's you got to earn those little weird attacks. They can't just come out of nowhere. Yeah,
that's the right word. You got to earn them.
Yeah, you got to earn them.
It's a reward. It's a fucking celebration.
Yeah, and isn't that sad? Like,
it's sad, but it's really good at the same time because we're creating these people at such a fast rate. Like, can you imagine some of these in 2 years, man? Like, who are blue belts now, who are 2 years in? Fuck me.
Dude, I mean, you're on your 10th year of jiu-jitsu now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Your 10th anniversary this year. And you should be able to just mow through these people. But you can't. Like, the reason I'm currently sitting here with a torn rotator cuff is because I just tried to scramble one of the blue belts. I tried to hold down one of the blue belts, and my shoulder almost fell off.
Yeah, they don't fucking sit still, man.
That was Patrick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There we go. Like, I say that, Poland. I say, dude. Like, I remember once when it was like just us three, me, you, and Patrick. I think this was before he even got his blue belt. Yeah, and I felt broken after that session. Like, we just did 1 in, 1 out, round robin, and he wasn't a rest round, shall we say?
No, not at all.
And that's why my shoulder's currently falling off. It's just because trying to control the fucker was a bit too hard. I'd already bust my knee the previous week, and then so I'm trying to like compensate on that, and I couldn't go in with with a bit of an injury and going half cocked. That was a silly choice on my part. So we can. So answering the question, we can still catch him with weird attacks, but you have to break the balance and posture first.
Yeah,
like you can't just hit him with a weird attack.
It comes as a cost.
Yeah. It comes at cost. I think that's the story of my life right now. All comes at cost. Next one. What are the things you look at or focus on when you analyze matches or footage?
Oh, that's a good question. So it depends how interested I am in the actual person. So I don't watch everyone. I'm going to be honest, because there's a lot of, there isn't time. And I don't know anybody. Like, if you watch every single match or every single top level guy or person, I don't know, you got too much time on your hands. But generally, what I look out for, I slow down shit a lot. I'll rewind a lot. Like when I'm watching UFC or MMA, especially, I'm always rewinding shit. If I like something, I'll slow it down. So again, recently, you look at what the other person's trying to achieve, and we've been doing the hand fighting stuff, and they're the kind of things that I always kind of look at the fundamentals of how that person or which one is imposing their will on the other, and who's controlling what and why. It's just I've thought about this before. To be fair, I can't put it into words because it's not something I've been taught. You know what I mean? It's something that I've over the years developed watching something, and I can look at it and I can most of the time, I kind of know why something's worked or it hasn't worked. I don't want to sound cocky and say all the time, but most of the time, you can see something, you'd be like, okay, it worked. Even when you see something new, you can look at it and be like, okay, I can see why that worked and how you could possibly stop it. But yeah, it's the fundamentals I really look at. The hand fighting I look at a lot, balance, posture, and a lot of when people win scrambles, a lot, it's always high hips and stuff. But it's just interesting to see how it's always the same answer with the high hips, and it's always the fundamentals that win. And if you look at all the high level top 5 or top 10 guys, whether it's MMA or grappling, it's the fundamentals, man. They do the same stuff, and they're really good at doing the same things, and especially the top 5 guys are really good at adapting midway or in the fight. The IQ, fight IQ levels are so high, like they'll read patterns so quickly, and you can see them figuring each other out, and it's so beautiful to watch. Like, I know some fights aren't friendly or like user friendly for people who don't watch the sports or don't train because they always want to see action. But sometimes some of the boring fights, which they find boring, like I find quite interesting, because you're watching it and thinking, damn, you can't see what's going on here, and you can actually see, you can see what they're thinking and how they're reacting to each other, and I think it's beautiful to watch, but it's not always entertaining, is it?
Well, I think that's it's kind of like the argument when it comes to really high level MMA, is that most championship fights are boring as piss, unless you know what you're looking for, and when you can see, when you've got the lower card just slugging at each other, yeah, that's fan service right there. You want to see death happen when two people are just unloading. But most elite level fights, I mean, if you ever watch any of the GSP fights, for example, you might look at it and think that's just boring as hell. But when you actually understand what he's doing and the tactics behind it, it's like, wow, that's fascinating. That's really just damn to watch at. And that's why I feel like most good jiu-jitsu fights, like I watched the Rotolo Tackett fight, and obviously that's just mad scrambles everywhere. But when you start looking at the footwork, when you start looking at the stances, when you start looking at the hand fighting and the posture, just those really core structural parts, like that was more interesting than the fact it was just
exactly
crazy movement everywhere.
Like, most people look at that and yeah, it is entertaining, it's wicked, but what they don't see is they're both doing exactly the right stuff, and any time they make a mistake is when one of them's gone for something and the other one's either countered, or one of them's fucked up, or one of them's getting tired in an exchange. But everything is right, like their footwork, their balance, posture, like, and they're going for it, and that's the best part of it. They're not like just being boring, they're actually going for it, and they're countering each other with good posture and good fundamentals.
Yeah, I mean, I did a breakdown of that, so I've got, I think, another 7 to upload onto In Theory. I did like breakdowns of those kind of fights on CGI, and yeah, when you see them like walk in stance and you see like the momentum and stuff like that, you're like, ooh, damn, like that's some interesting stuff right there. Yeah, really, like that's what I try and analyze. Is I think because we break jiu-jitsu down so far, it's not necessarily like looking at the techniques of like, oh, he's using this guard or he's using this pass. It's more of, right, drill, and that's what I think is how I analyze fights. Is the more I understand jiu-jitsu, the more I get into those deeper fundamentals of structure, of posture, of weight distribution, of framing. I'm looking at all that and I'm going, oh shit, like that's interesting right there. I like the look of that, and I can pick up things from that.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's what where I'm drawn to when it comes to analyzing jiu-jitsu, because then it kind of just matches into how I analyze all jiu-jitsu. Like if when people come with in privates and problems, that's what I'm looking at when I watch people roll, or I roll with people. It's like, right, how are your fundamental motions here? And if they're broken, that's probably going to lead to bigger problems anyway. So fix that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So I don't think, I think I've almost made that short list of, right, what am I looking for, of like weight distribution, how they're attaching and where they're attaching on certain parts of the body, how they're attacking the other person, like how they're doing posture breaks and like feints and stuff like that. Their upright postures, how they engage with their hand fighting, all of that is so fascinating.
Yeah.
And just having that short list, I think. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, okay. I thought. Oh, yeah. I was like,
No.
I heard the click. And I was like, is his mic dropped out? Or
No.
Oh, okay. You're coughing.
I had to cough.
Don't worry,
yeah.
I did the same. I think I burped like 5 minutes ago. I had to I knew it was coming, so I paused the mic. I have a question. So you're about to go do this trip to Finland. How do you plan now? Like, because I remember when I first started doing it, I was like, even like in class, I was like just running a few ideas through, make sure my material was good. What are you doing, like 2 hours or 3 hours, 3 hours?
I think it's 2 hours, and an hour and a half.
Right, okay. How are you planning for that?
So if I'm honest, I haven't thought too much about it, and neither do I. I'm be honest. I don't really. I think with the topic that I'm going to teach, I don't know, man. Like, I'll be honest with you. I never really sat down. Like, when I'm driving sometimes to train and I've got to teach a class, I kind of think of ways I can break something down and get it across. So what I'll have to do is I'll probably try and see what kind of level he wants me to deliver at. If it's completely like basic, then I'll have to go through God and why certain things work. I think it'll be a mixture of concept and technique, definitely, because that's how I like to teach. But yeah, we'll see, man. I haven't really put too much thought into it because I know the themes. I'll just have to see if he wants me to do anything specific, or if he just says to me, "You go for it," and then see what happens.
Yeah, I get that. I think that's one of the things of since I started doing seminars is like it's having you can't script it too much. Like you got to kind of play off the crowd a little bit and see where they're kind of going. Like you have like a rough plan in your head of like the steps you want to go for and like how one thing leads to another. But other than that, it's just freestyling it between each part.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've said it before. One of the best things I took from teaching, doing the whole teaching course and stuff, was like you have a plan and stuff, but don't be afraid of deviating from the plan if it means that the session can be delivered better. If there's something that that will help someone understand something better, or the most core of the group doesn't understand a certain part, like you don't have to carry on with whatever plan you had. So you could sit there planning everything perfectly, turn up, and then it's like the problem that you've got in front of you has got nothing to do with your plan. So you wasted all that time planning. So I think it's the way I work, because I just know the theme and I kind of have an idea of the core things that I want to teach, and then see what comes up. And a lot of the times it can be like, if you don't understand, like Q&A as well. So it shows they're involved in it as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was. I was actually listening. I think it was a Theo Von podcast. He had another comedian on, and they were talking about
he's a funny bastard.
Dude, he's a weird fucker.
Man, some of the shit he says, I'm thinking, how the fuck do you get away with this, bro?
Like, Theo stories, dude. Theo stories. Like, even listen to the other comedians, like in that kind of circuit, and listen to them. Like, yeah, Theo's going. Like when Theo gets going, you don't know where that story is about to go.
His brain must work in some weird way, because some of the conversations he has, some of the stories, like you say, he tells people, I'm like, how the fuck have you just made that up? Because it ain't true. Most of it probably ain't.
You'd think that, but like my life is very mild, and I've been in some odd situations, and like, yeah. So when he starts saying stuff, I'm like, that does sound half plausible, to be fair. I'm pretty mild, and mine go a bit sideways sometimes. Mine aren't drug fueled most of the time. Not to the same level his are. But I remember him saying in the podcast, a while back. He was talking to another comedian about this idea that you have like, your points, and then you just try and like join in between them, essentially, like just telling this story. And that's how it feels like sometimes teaching a seminar. It's like you have your main points and you're telling a story between it, but it's like just delivering a comedy act, as in you're essentially up on stage for 2 to 3 hours or 4 or 6 hours, and you're trying to write a story live. And you're going off, fan reactions sometimes, but you're writing that story and making sure that the story is understandable.
Yeah, I like that. I like that analogy. I like that.
And that's what makes it so exhausting sometimes. Like by the end of it, like, I love rolling, but you're so exhausted because you've just been writing a story live for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize after the past ones, man. Fuck, you're 100% right. Like, you don't realize how much they take out you mentally.
Yeah, exactly. Like to be able to write that story, and have it make sense and not sound like you're losing your mind. I mean, a lot of my earlier ones were very wooden, but now, and then it's, sometimes I'm lucky enough that I get to go in and deliver what I'm currently working on and what I'm feeling quite passionate about. But sometimes I get requests, and then so you're going in like thinking. I mean, I was once asked to go do 8 hours of heel hooks over a weekend.
I mean, as much as I love heel hooks, 8 hours, wow.
Dude, is there even 8 hours of knowledge when it comes to heel hooks in the world?
No, I think, no. So there's a lot of drilling, I'm guessing, that you did.
No, what was lucky was it was in Italy, and so every line I said, you had to translate. So I did about 4 hours of teaching eventually.
Language barrier. Barrier.
I think that was the only, like, I can understand why he asked for 8 hours, because 4 hours of it was him explaining it back so that he could understand it. And then sometimes, like, I had very, very basic understanding of Italian, and I'm like, he's not saying what I'm saying right now. He's insulting them.
He probably said, don't listen to this idiot. We've had to pay for him. I don't know why we paid for him. So, anyway.
Dude, I was like those hand signals on explaining what I just said. Why is he pointing at me?
Pointing at you and calling you a wanker.
It's like he's doing like the shaking of the hand drill, and, like pointing at him, pointing at me, and he's like shaking his hand in front of his mouth, calling me a cocksucker. I was like, that's not jiu-jitsu. No, I love that. Like, I've been out to that gym about 4 times now in Florence, Mario's gym. I love them dearly. Every time I go out there, I've like known them, I think, since pre-pandemic now. It's one of my favourite places to visit. I spoke to them the other day, but yeah, they asked me for 8 hours of heel hooks, and I was like, whoa, like this is going to be the most thorough breakdown of heel hooks you're ever going to see. And yeah, it was. I really had to research that one. Yeah, so sometimes I do get those requests. What was it? I was also in Belize recently, and they said, "Oh, could you defend everything?" I was like, "Well, that's very out of date right now." That's like asking, for the final countdown or something. Except we've all moved on, and we're now an orchestra. Like, have you got a guitarist anymore, or a drummer? We can see what we can do. It's very different. Yeah, so I know, like, you've had requests a little bit for what they want in Finland, but yeah, get ready for that one. That's gonna be fun if you just going right or set something up that lasts, because then it's oh, dude, because I've done a lot of camps before and stuff like that. I remember once there was a guy who was teaching a class and he ran out of material about halfway through.
What?
They ran out of material half an hour into the class, and eventually just had people doing sparring. That was it. He kind of gave up and wandered off. Like, it just fell apart. And I was like, damn. Yeah, like...
Yeah.
It was kind of like a open-ended kind of class anyway, but then, like, yeah, he just the material kind of fell off, and I was like, whoa, that I wasn't a, you know, I think I was a pup about the time. I was like, whoa, that's a hard listen there. That's not a, and that's another one is like you're delivering a set. You know, you've been given a time slot, 2 hours or whatever. You want to make sure that people have got the training time, and you need to land it at that point. Like you deliver your package. You know, you give that beginning, you introduce it, you got the middle, and then you get that killer ending. And sometimes if you miss that killer ending, it's like, oh, we kind of missed the whole point of the seminar here.
Yeah, 100%.
Who knew it'd be? Maybe we care too much because we've had seminars where that didn't seem to be a factor.
No comment.
I put up a message the other day. Are you considering the Globetrotters camps next year?
I'm hoping so, yeah. I might do the Germany one that you posted the other day.
Yeah. They've still got some tickets left. I think we have a couple of people from our gym already interested. And I'd like to see what happens if you went. Something to consider, eh?
Yeah.
It's been great getting back on Read the Week. This we'll probably have we'll see if we can record another episode before I go, but I'm going on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that'll be the last one for like a week, I think. So we'll try and get one in maybe Friday night or something.
Yeah, and then you can release it on Sunday or something.
Yeah. So for those not in the know, I'm doing my last trip of the year. It's probably my longest, furthest trip so far. And I'm excited I get to go to Japan, and that's just for me, for the most part. And then Manila to the Philippines. One of the questions is actually from the guy setting me up out there, so I'm looking forward to meeting them all. And then I get back to London. I spend 12 hours in the UK, and then I'm off to Germany for another 2 or 3.
Oh, nice,
dude! So I'm flying back from Manila. It's an 8-hour time difference and like a 17-hour trip. And I think the final flight, from China to London's 13 hours. I get a few hours in London. I think I get probably back into the city centre around about 8 p.m. I've then got to leave my hostel around about 3 to get back to the airport across the city because I'm in 2 different airports. And then I'm flying out again. So I'm going to have the worst jet lag and be miserable and probably smell pretty bad.
Well, you know the cure for jet lag.
Yeah, but not when you got things to do, shall we say, when you land.
Yeah, but you can time it right, and then when you land, you can go sleep then, innit? And then you'll be fine. Jet lag over when you wake up.
I'll try and get some sleep in, but I may be all over the place. This is gritting my teeth moment right now. I'm excited. It's another gym that I get to go visit, and frequently they're friends. And when they asked, I was like, "Yeah, I'll come see you." But yeah, I'm having to plan for every kind of weather in a small bag. I think Japan's gonna be like autumn weather, so like 15 degrees. Manila's up about 30 odd and humid, I imagine. And then southern Germany / Switzerland is gonna be cold as hell.
Yeah, that's fucked. You're gonna be ill when you get back, man. Fuck you now.
Yeah, when I get back, there's not gonna be much left of me. And oh well, and you're gonna be like, fuck the cold as well. It'll be quite an interesting few days.
Yeah. However, I am looking forward to the sauna.
Dude, like, I need to find out the detail, like the statistics, but I'm pretty sure there's more saunas in Finland than there are people.
Damn.
And they're hot as well. They know what to do with saunas. And I'll be very disappointed in Joachim if he doesn't make you sauna and then jump into something cold.
I don't mind.
Dude, I want a video of you going into a sauna then running out into the snow, at least, or diving in, because he's on the coast where his house is. I want to see you running into the sea, like, in your pants. I won't be happy otherwise. And if that happens, as soon as I get back and we're doing another podcast, there's going to be a video version. I'm going to clip that in. Well, he did it to me. Like, he was like, it's now customary to go roll in the snow. But it was like, what, minus 30 Celsius at that point? I don't know what that is for our American listeners. 30 Celsius, minus 22 Fahrenheit. Woo! There you go. It was to roll around in your pants. That's brisk as hell.
Yep, frosty.
But that's the kind of stuff he makes you do, and be prepared. Last time I saw him, he tricked me into doing a backflip into a lake.
Shit, he seems like a funny character.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But he was like, he said something like, last time I was here, the Sambo world champion, and he did a backflip into the lake. I was like, well, I'll do a backflip into the lake.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I had so much water into my head because I completely fucked the backflip. I've got a video of it somewhere, or that stills. And like, it starts off brilliantly. It looks like a great backflip. By the end of it, I look like I've just been like failed a skydive. It looks horrendous. Anyway, so if the 2 times I've spent with Joachim, he's thrown me into the snow in minus 30 degrees Celsius, and he's tricked me into backflipping into a lake. I look forward to whatever he does to you, because the guy's got a sense of humour. Either way, I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Have a good night, dude.
And you, mate. Bye-bye.